All right, let's jump to a little college football, John. I'll throw out a couple of teams that in the Big Ten, and we might do this as an extension over the next couple of weeks or whatever. But I decided to go with the Big Ten because I thought I was looking at it and there's like, okay, who's most likely going to get into the college football playoff? Well, Ohio State, Oregon, who looks really, really good potentially, and then Penn State. So there's your three. But who's somebody on the sideline? Now, obviously, people would say, well, Michigan. Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of changes going on at Michigan, and so we don't really know, and it's sort of up in the air. Here's what I like. I like Illinois, who last year went 10-3, and I like Nebraska, even though they were 7-6, but they played a lot of tight games that they lost. They got blown out once or twice, but most of their games that they lost, they were tight games. I like their quarterback. I mean, I think they have an elite quarterback for college football. I think Illinois has an elite quarterback for college football, a guy that not too many people knew much about until last year, but Luke Altmaier. I mean, they got a great offensive line, great defensive line. And then you look over at Nebraska, they're bringing back those black shirts. You and I were just talking about black shirts yesterday, but you know, they've brought back a defense that I think could get pretty interesting. I think that head coach does a great job. So I put those two in as potential to maybe even get into the playoff, but certainly be more respected, I think, around the Big Ten this coming year. Do you like those two, or is there somebody else?
I do. I'd add one, right. Indiana.
Yes,
and
I agree.
Indiana. Why? Because they've got a chip on their shoulder again. They had a chip and they played with it all year last year, and it worked in virtually every game but one. And that one was important, obviously, and they didn't move on because of that game. But Indiana, those kids have something to prove. The coach has something to prove because, like you said, Pete, it doesn't matter if you go 9-0 and then you play the big boys and you start dropping games. So he's got to win against some of the big boys this year, and they get a chance to play them. So Big Ten football is a whole different level. So much speed, obviously, in the SEC and even in the ACC, an awful lot of speed out there. And there are no slouches in the Big Ten, but they're definitely thumpers in the Big Ten. And so if Indiana can make that turn, I think they could be a playoff contender. Not saying, favored, but I'm saying just like you say with it, Illinois. And I would give Illinois the edge over them right now. But I think Indiana's going to be playing some tough football again this year.
And Bielema's record as a coach at Wisconsin, not as much at Arkansas, but okay at Arkansas. That was a tough one. And then he comes to what he's done at Illinois has just been spectacular. I mean, he's turned that into a power. So pretty interesting. And by the way, this is for Coach Rule down there in Nebraska, my Krusty's hat. Hey, how about this, John? There are three guys out there that let's just call them free agents because that's what they're trying to become, are free agents. But you've got three big names, Micah Parsons, Trey Hendrickson, and Terry McLaurin. Now, McLaurin is a great receiver. My question that I would like to throw out to you, because I'm trying to figure it out myself, who's the most important one that you really do need to have and want to have back? Micah Parsons is a great player. Everybody says he's intelligent beyond words. Football intelligence is great. He makes a hell of a lot of plays. We know that, but he wants a boatload of money, John. And I saw one trade that they tried to give the Cowboys and they declined it, but it was multiple first rounders and the following year, second rounder or something like that to try to pick up Parsons and so forth. And Trey Hendrickson is a guy that nobody really talks about much, Cincinnati Bengals, but all he does is sack quarterbacks. I mean, the guy is unbelievable player who's probably the least known of these guys. But I look at McLaurin, I'm like, wow, that's the guy. When you're a quarterback, you kind of have a receiver that you can throw the ball up and that guy's going to come down with it, or he's at least going to get it to the ground, but it's not going to be an interception. And I think that was something that got developed last year with the rookie quarterback who ends up being one of the best quarterbacks in the league last year. And they're looking for him again. He needs to have that receiver. So I'm going to say as great as Micah might be and as great as Trey is, I think McLaren is probably the guy that the team needs the most coming back at Washington. What do you think? Is there something about Micah? I mean, he seems like a good guy, but he wants so much, John. But who doesn't, right? That's the name of the game.
And whatever he gets now will pale in comparison to what 2 years from now the contracts will be. He's 25 years old. So, I wouldn't be in a rush if I'm him to take less than what I think, because it's not just what are you worth, it's what they're willing to pay. And I think he is worth the money at 25 without the big injuries and things like that. But whatever he gets, if he gets 50 a year, Pete, which is a possibility, because he may turn down 40. Yeah. If I were him, I would really just opt for a couple-year contract, Pete, not a 4-year with an option or anything like that. Because again, the number is going to be much bigger in just a couple years. So why not collect a nice big paycheck now and then sign that 60 mil, 65 mil with 200 mil guaranteed up front or whatever it is. Are those contracts going to be there under the new deals that the NFL is cutting? I think they might be, so watch it. And Hendrickson, you're right, because he plays in Cincinnati, nobody knows him. I mean, more people know Myles Garrett playing in freaking Cleveland, and also great player. And he got paid. But Hendrickson, no, he's the NFL knows who he is, obviously, but fans and sponsors are not as big on him because, he plays in this little outpost that, few people see. When was the last time you saw a Cincy game, Pete?
Right, yeah. Well, the only reason you do is because of Burrow, right? Well, it's actually Burrow and Hendrickson, but I mean, yeah, no, you're exactly right, John. It's rare. It really is.
Right.
And
it's Burrow and it's Chase. Yep. And, it's the offensive, equivalent of the San Diego Chargers under Air Coryell, practically, with what they can do on offense. So nobody really pays attention to them all that much on defense. But if they lose him, that's a big loss. It would be an interesting thing to see Dallas and Cincy swap, Pete. Micah go to Cincy and Hendrickson go down to Dallas. And there'd probably be draft picks involved as well, or at least other players. But I agree. I think the player that makes the biggest difference of those three is going to be the receiver for Washington. And without him, I think Washington is not nearly as good. The quarterback is not nearly as good without him.
Right. No, I agree with you. And you know what? We know Jerry Jones. We know who he is, and he's a guy who he'll get it done. But if he gets the right sort of a trade, I think he does it. I think
all day long.
Yep. And I think it wouldn't be so smart or so bad because he's already gotten one, shot at it. And he at least now what the floor is. And what would somebody give? Would they give 3 first-rounders? Would they get, what do they get? Is it a Herschel Walker trade? Maybe.
Yeah, it's going to be a Herschel Walker trade, no matter what. No matter if you give more than 2 first-rounders and players and second round, you're decimating your team going forward. What are you doing? Are you doing it just to win, once like the Rams did? Is that what you're doing? Because that seems to be what you'd be doing if you did that. You're sacrificing your future for that the same way the Vikings did. And by the way, that was, again, not only a dumb trade, but the Vikings had the best passing attack in the world, and then they get Herschel Walker. There aren't enough footballs. You know what I mean? There aren't enough footballs if you've got Herschel Walker and he needs, the ball 20 times a game, and you've got quarterbacks that are, just lighting it up with some of the best receivers in the game. So that crippled the Vikings. Whoever does this kind of trade with Jerry will cripple their team. That's my prediction.